Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be recapping this Orioles and Cardinals game 2 that just ended literally like 30 seconds ago. The Orioles, unfortunately, did lose this game, and that means that the 3-game winning streak has come to an end. Hopefully, we were looking for the Orioles to hopefully extend that winning streak to a 4-game winning streak today and also take the series, but the Orioles do lose this game 7-4 in a pretty heartbreaking loss. One of those losses that we've seen a lot this year where they go down a lot early. They were down 3-0 early, then it was 3-1, and then we took a 4-3 lead in the 6th inning thanks to a Ryan O'Hearn 3-run home run. We're going to talk more about him later. He has continued to really carry the Orioles here recently in the wins that they've had and even in the losses they've had as well. But Ryan O'Hearn continues to do amazing. He was responsible for 3 of the 4 runs scored today by the Orioles. And we had a 4-3 lead. Then eventually it was tied 4-4, and then the bullpen, then it was 5-4, and then it was 7-4. So slowly but surely the bullpen gave this game up, and the offense just wasn't able to, get back into it. The offense also did struggle today. They went 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position. And obviously, at the beginning of the season, we saw that stat line a lot from the Orioles, where they just could not hit with runners in scoring position. But the Cardinals did a great job of taking advantage of the Orioles pitching. We had some guys out there who didn't do great. The initial guy who gave this game up was Brian Baker, who's been very solid for the Orioles all season, but he's the one that actually gave this game up initially. Then we brought out a new guy who's never pitched in the MLB before. He also gave up he gave up a run, and it kind of just unraveled from there. The offense did not continue to struggle, but the offense did struggle with runners in scoring position today. Again, 1 for 13 in that stat line. Ryan O'Hearn was responsible for most of the runs, pretty much all the runs that were scored today, and the Orioles just could not really get it going on offense. Besides Ryan O'Hearn, and the pitching just kind of gave it away. Tomoyuki Sugano had a solid start, not anything fantastic, but it was good enough to win this game, but the Orioles just could not get it done. So let's just get right into it. Going over this loss that the Orioles had, they lose 7-4. They fall to 19-35 on the season, 9-16 at home. They're back to being 16 games below 500. Right when they were 15 games below 500 yesterday. So once again, they were starting to really chip away at the deficit that they were in. They were on a 3-game winning streak going into the game today, and now this series is tied 1-1, and then the winner of the game tomorrow will take this series. This is actually the only 3 games that we're playing against St. Louis all season, so this also is the season series as well for these 2 teams. So the winner of the game tomorrow will take this game, and hopefully the Orioles can go out there and get a win. Not only a win on my birthday, but a series win on my birthday as well. That'll be pretty dope if they can do that tomorrow, so we're hoping for that. Last year they lost my birthday, but hopefully that doesn't happen again this year. But the Orioles looking for their series win tomorrow. This series is tied 1-1. Obviously, first game, Orioles win 5-2. Today, Orioles lose 7-4. So going over the offense in this game, the Orioles had 8 total hits in this game and scored 4 runs off of it. Again, 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position. They left 8 guys on base, so a lot of missed opportunities today for the Orioles on offense, but also kind of a double-edged sword. The offense missed a lot of opportunities, but the bullpen also did give this game away. So you can kind of look at both things and really blame both sides for really not holding up in this game. Obviously the Orioles have done a good job recently at keeping games close and doing well. Obviously a 3-game winning streak going into today's game. And they've done well with runners in scoring position, and they've done their thing, and they've done a good job. They haven't done a good job all season with it, but recently they've done good. But today they struggle heavily with runners in scoring position, which was a big reason why they lost this game. The starting pitching from Sugano was good enough to win this game, but the bullpen did give it up. A few things went wrong in this game for the Orioles, and it's really unfortunate because they kind of had the momentum going. They won 3 in a row going into today. They had the momentum. It seemed like things were switching on their side, especially after that 3-run home run in the 5th inning by Ryan O'Hearn. You really felt like this team really has turned a new leaf, and this team is really on the right track to getting back to where they want to be. When they were up 4-3 in this game, you really kind of felt that energy, like, wow, this team is real. Like, this team really might be back. But unfortunately, that ended pretty quickly, where in the 7th and 8th inning, the Cardinals pretty much just closed out this game for them. But again, going over the offense, Jackson Holliday got the leadoff. He goes 1 for 5. His average is at a 266. So, Jackson Holliday, again, he's getting a lot of hits. He's doing his thing. He's doing a good job at leadoff. He's not doing anything spectacular, but he is doing well. Obviously, he is 21 years old, second youngest player in baseball. He's going to go through these strides. He's going to get better. We all know this, and he's already made a very big jump from last season, which is already very encouraging. Again, Jackson Holliday goes 1 for 5. Ramon Urias was batting second today. He goes 2 for 4 with a run scored. Gunnar Henderson goes 0 for 4 with a walk and a run scored. Ryan Mountcastle has a great day today. He actually has a 3-hit day. 3 hits. He goes 3 for 4 with a run scored. And then Ryan O'Hearn, obviously, once again, in my opinion, he's had the best season by an Oriole this season. If there's any player on this team that deserves to be an all-star, it is 100% Ryan O'Hearn. He's batting a 340. I think he has 9 home runs, 21 RBIs right now, and he is just a DH. Obviously, Shohei Ohtani is a DH as well, and Shohei Ohtani is Shohei Ohtani, but Ryan O'Hearn is having an excellent season as a DH as well. Today he goes 1 for 3 with a run scored, and obviously that 3-run homer that he hit to put the Orioles up in this game. We were all hoping that would be the thing that pushed the Orioles over in this game to eventually win, but unfortunately our bullpen had other plans. But Ryan O'Hearn, another great game. Again, he's batting a 340 on this season. I think he's 5th in batting average in baseball and 5th in OPS. So he's having a spectacular season. He has really broken out this year, and it's really cool to see. Dylan Carlson, after a couple of really good games for the Orioles recently, goes out there, has an 0 for 4 day with 2 strikeouts. Jorge Mateo goes 1 for 4, but has some really good base running. He stole 2 bases in 1 inning. So that was really cool to see from him. Heston Kjerstad goes 0 for 4, and Chadwick Tromp, who was catching today, goes 0 for 4. So speaking of Chadwick Tromp and the catching situation right now for the Orioles, Adley Rutschman is currently in concussion protocol, so he is unable to play. As I talked about a couple of episodes ago, Adley Rutschman got a ball, got hit back into his catcher's mask, and he kind of got rattled in that game. We took him out, and now he is in concussion protocol, trying to get cleared for that. So he is currently unavailable. Again, it's just another injury added on to the pile. This shouldn't be a long-term injury. Obviously, when you're in concussion protocol, it's a pretty serious deal because you never know how your brain and your body's going to respond. Same thing with a lot of injuries as well, but with concussion protocol, you never really know how long it's going to be, especially for a catcher who obviously is in big risk of balls, coming back and hitting them in the face. And getting rattled by it as well. So Adley Rutschman in concussion protocol. Hopefully he is good. Hopefully he is good to go soon, and he can clear that as well. But again, it's just another injury that this Orioles team has faced. You now have Adley Rutschman in concussion protocol. Ramon Laureano, who was like the second hottest hitter on the team behind Ryan O'Hearn at the time of his injury, he's out with that sprained ankle. Obviously, Colton Cowser, Jordan Westburg, your 2 biggest names that are hurt right now. They're still hurt and recovering from their injuries. They are in AAA, so they should be coming back hopefully soon, because we're going to need these guys back as soon as possible, especially Jordan Westburg when it comes to runners in scoring position, because we all know how reliable he was last season with that. And then obviously you still have the pitching injuries with Grace Rodriguez and Kyle Bradish. There's no real updates on them. They'll probably come back sometime in the second half of the year. So it's going to be a while before we see those guys. The starting pitching staff that we have right now is going to be the pitching staff we have for a while until one of those guys comes back. And then obviously Tyler O'Neill is still hurt as well, dealing with that shoulder injury. Tyler O'Neill obviously hasn't had the season that we all hoped, but he is still a guy out there that's going to be an everyday right fielder for you. But I mean, we'll see honestly with the whole Ramon Laureano situation. But the reason why I think he's an everyday right fielder is because of the money we're paying him. But we'll see what Tony Mansolino decides to do with that. So overall, the offense did disappoint today. Ryan O'Hearn obviously had the big 3-run home run that was obviously 3 of the 4 runs that this team scored in this game. Heston Kjerstad brought in Ramon Urias for the other run, but obviously a disappointing day for the offense as they go 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position. So the offense couldn't necessarily really get going. Ryan O'Hearn with the big hit, but they did have a lead in this game. Tomoyuki Sagano had a very solid night. This was Japanese Heritage Night, so obviously everyone was there for Tomoyuki. He has a solid game, not anything spectacular, but not something that he didn't have a start where this game was like unwinnable. We 100% could have still won with this start, especially if you look at all the opportunities that we had to score runs in this game. But Tomoyuki goes 5.1 innings, gives up 8 hits, 3 runs, 0 walks, 3 strikeouts, and gives up a home run, which was a 2-run home run in the second inning of this game. A 91 pitch count across 5.1 innings, 3 runs, 8 hits, and a 3.23 ERA. Still sitting at a low to mid 3 ERA, which is excellent, obviously, especially for an Orioles pitcher. So Tomoyuki's still having a great year. Had a decent start today, nothing crazy. Nothing spectacular, nothing crazy. He did fine. He did good. But again, the Orioles offense just couldn't really get things going with runners in scoring position, and the bullpen also gave this game away when the Orioles did have a lead in the 6th inning. So just a bunch of different stuff going on in this game that kind of led to the loss. Gregory Soto comes into the game, has an electric inning, 0.2 innings, and 2 strikeouts as well. Struck out both the batters he faced in that 6th inning that Tomoyuki Sagano got removed from. Then Keegan Aiken comes into the game, 0.1 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. This was the run that then tied the game for the Orioles. This was the game, this was the run that the Cardinals tied the game 4-4. Ynier Cano comes into the game, 0.2 innings, strikeout, doesn't give up a run. But then Brian Baker gets the loss in this game. He's now 3-1 on the year with his record. Brian Baker with a pretty horrible game, obviously. He gave this game away. Brian Baker goes 0.2 innings, gives up 3 hits, 3 runs, a walk, and has 2 strikeouts, and gives up a home run to Nolan Arenado. 17 innings and 0.2 innings, or 17 pitches and 0.2 innings. His ERA goes up to a 3. Brian Baker was such a good reliever for the Orioles this season, and he still is. He still is having a great year for the Orioles relieving wise, but he did completely give this game up. And then Geraldo, who made his MLB debut today, got put in a very weird situation for his first pitcher and first situation he's ever been in. There was runners at the corners, and he did give up a hit, which then brought in a run, but obviously he didn't get counted for it because he didn't let that runner on. Hopefully he'll be something for the Orioles this season. We'll see. But Brian Baker does give this game up. And also the Orioles struggle with runners in scoring position. So when you combine that together, it's going to lead to a loss. Again, the Orioles lose 7-4 in this game. Tomorrow they will be playing for the series win. Not only the series win, but the season series win as well, because these are the only 3 times that these teams will be playing each other. So hopefully the Orioles can go out, get the win tomorrow, get the series win, their first series win in a long time, and then move forward with that momentum from there. Because, again, as I've said multiple times here recently, this team is in no position to be losing series at all. Obviously, you would love to go for the sweep in series, and that would definitely help. But at the minimum, they cannot lose a series. They have to at least win the series, every series moving forward, because of the position that they put themselves in. They're 16 games below 500 again, and if they want any sort of chance to come back into the season with their guys coming back from injury, with the starting pitching, hopefully, solidifying itself and settling in and stuff. If they want to get back into the season, they cannot lose a series. So they got to go in there tomorrow. Got to play the Cardinals tomorrow and get the win. Obviously, the Cardinals are one of the more hotter teams in baseball. They got the win on them yesterday. They lose today. Hopefully, they can go out and get the win tomorrow. And it's also my birthday tomorrow, so hopefully they can go out and get the win for that as well. A little extra birthday gift from the Orioles. But tomorrow it's going to be Miles Malakis versus Cade Povich. The Orioles do, the Cardinals do have the pitching advantage in this game. Obviously, most of the time, the Orioles are going to have the disadvantage for pitching. But Miles Malakis, 4-2 record on the year, a 3.5 ERA, 1.17 WHIP, 51 innings, 44 hits, 31 strikeouts. He's having a solid year for the Cardinals. Cade Povich obviously hasn't necessarily had a great year for the Orioles. He's had some flashes of some good games, but most of the time it really hasn't been great for him. 1-3 record, 4.86 ERA, 1.45 WHIP. Not necessarily great from Cade, but hopefully the Orioles can go out there tomorrow and get that win. Another player that I want to discuss is Cedric Mullins, who has not played in the past 2 games. We don't really know what it is. He might not have just been available today. I think they said he was available if there was an emergency, but I don't know if there's anything going on with him, because hopefully he's not hurt, because Cedric Mullins, Ryan O'Hearn are having really the 2 best seasons by an Oriole this year. So hopefully they're good to go. Hopefully they are. Hopefully he's fine, because we cannot afford to lose Cedric Mullins. Also, another thing with Cedric is a lot of Orioles fans and a lot of people outside of the Orioles, other teams and stuff are looking at the Orioles as a team that could potentially be sellers at the trade deadline because of the way that their season has gone. And for a player that the Orioles would sell at the deadline, and I don't even want to talk about the deadline really, because it is still so far away and there's still a lot of time for the Orioles to get back into the season. But if the Orioles were to make a move at the deadline, I would bet my money that Cedric Mullins probably would get traded. He's having a very solid year, and there are a ton of current contending teams that would love to have him on their roster. Obviously, he's an incredible outfielder, incredible center fielder, and he's a good, he hits the ball well. His averages, dropped down a lot this year, but he does come up clutch in a lot of situations. And he also is just an incredible outfielder, and there's a lot of current contending teams that would love to have him on their team. Don't really want to talk about it too much. Again, there is still a lot of time to get back into the season, but that is just something to kind of keep in the back of our mind as the season goes on. If things don't get better and if we are sellers at this deadline, we could very well see Cedric Mullins gone, because he does only have 1 year left on his deal. But we'll see what happens with that. But thank you guys so much again for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, like the video as well. And if you're listening on Spotify, make sure to follow up on that channel and leave a review on the episode. I appreciate all the support that you guys have given me, all the nice comments and stuff like that. I appreciate it all. Obviously, the Orioles with a very unfortunate loss today, but hopefully they can go out there and get that series win tomorrow and move forward with there and just keep the momentum going. Again, my name is Nathan Stroud. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning into this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one. You have a great rest of y'all's day. Peace out.